I am back with an actual theatrical review for you guys here today. Wrath of Man is a new Guy Ritchie film that just got released Friday and stars Jason Statham. You have Josh Hartnett, Andy Garcia, and you also have Scott Eastwood. Now, let's talk about this. Now, if you're one of those people that's automatically turning this off because it's got Jason Statham in it, you're going to be missing out. This film, find out if it's worth your time to go to the theater, to spend your time, your money, and possibly your health. Now, I will tell you, I'm really happy movies are getting back into full swing here. I go to Harkins here in Arizona, and they've opened everything up to capacity, but the theaters are still running at half capacity for safety measures. They don't want to be liable for anything. But I'll tell you, the theater I went to was packed. There wasn't a seat left. People are going to go back to the movies if they release movies people want to see. I think as this virus slows down, we're going to see a lot more movies get put out there, and we've got A Quiet Place 2 at the end of this month, and next week I'm going to be reviewing Those Who Wish Me Dead. That review is going up Friday, so look for that review as quickly as I can get up on Friday and find out if that movie is worth your time or your money as well. All right, so let's talk Wrath of Man, Jason Statham. This movie surprised me. I've not seen a single thing for this. I wanted to go to the movie, so my wife and I went on Friday. And here are my thoughts on the film. Now, I'm not going to give too much away in the movie. I want people to go see this, but I am going to give you my thoughts, my feelings on what I saw and what to expect. Most of the time, you're going to expect this over-the-top film with Jason Statham. This is his most down-to-earth film, and definitely his best film to date. He starts out as he's an armored truck driver. He's getting a job as an armored truck driver. You go through his training, you see what he's going through to get to where he needs to be. And on one of his first jobs of transporting money, him and his partner get held up, and he ends up killing everybody who was a part of that whole company. And you find out he's not quite who he said he was. And there's some mystery there at the first third of the film where his employer tries to figure out who he is. The people he's working with try to figure out who he is. And then the middle of the film hits. And this is where it kind of lacks a little bit. It kind of drags, as this movie is not told in chronological order. And this is what saves the film, actually. I think if this movie was told in chronological order, I don't think it'd be nearly as good a film. So you go back in the middle part of the film and they tell you how he got to getting hired as an armored truck driver. That part of the film is necessary, but it's not as interesting as you think it might be as they try to build up the whole story of what happened. This almost would have been better as like maybe a mini series on TV or something like that, where they had time to build the characters. But this is a 2-hour movie and they have to get the whole story told. So the middle part of the film does drag a little bit. And then the ending is off the wall crazy. One of the greatest shootouts you have seen since the movie Heat back in the 90s. It is well worth your time to see. And then you get the final ending, which is very satisfying. I wouldn't call it amazing, but it's satisfying and it is expected for the way the movie went. Here's what I didn't like in the film. Andy Garcia has a very small role that barely gets fleshed out. You've got Josh Hartnett's back. I mean, I haven't seen him in a movie since, I think, Pearl Harbor, which was quite a while ago. So he's back, and his role, I think they didn't give him the best role. Let's put it that way. I think he could have had a lot more to do. Kind of disappointed what they did with his character, but it was nice to see him back in a movie. And I did like Scott Eastwood. I did like his character in the film. And there's other characters that you'll see in the film that are character actors. So they did a decent job. In the end, this movie really should have been called Last Man Standing. You'll see what I'm talking about when you get to the end of the movie. The only other thing I didn't like was the music. I think whoever composed the music, and I didn't bother to look this up, tried to make it feel like the movie Tenet or any one of Christopher Nolan's films. If you've ever seen his movies, he has this way of building tension. And this composer tried to do that, and it was more annoying than it was effective. But you get there at the end. So in the end, I struggled with what I wanted to give this movie because it's a very competent film. I almost went with 4.5 stars, but I'm going to go with 4. I think it tried to be more clever than it actually was. And to make it clever, they had to go tell it out of chronological order, which works for this movie. Like I said, if it was told in chronological order, I don't think it would have had nearly the impact as the end would. It would have just been a run-of-the-mill revenge film. So I did enjoy this movie quite a bit. I think Jason Statham's best film. It's not perfect, as I said, some of the characters and the way it was told, and that's why I'm knocking it down that half a star. I wanted it's hard for me to give a movie 5 stars, and I almost went 4.5 with this, but I am gonna go with 4. So, know that it's worth your time to go see, it's worth your money. I think you'll enjoy this movie. Not particularly a happy film, but it is something I would revisit, and I will definitely be adding it to my collection when it comes out, and that usually tells you something. There may be times where I give 4 stars to something but may not own it. I would own this film. This will be added to my collection when it does get released. So there's my review of Wrath of Man, directed by Guy Ritchie and starring Jason Statham. What did you guys think? I want to know what people thought of this film. Did you guys enjoy it? What were your thoughts on the film? Definitely leave comments below. And if you haven't already, hit the like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and we'll see you guys on the new reviews coming up later this month. I do appreciate the support. We'll see you guys on the next one.